Hi, I'm Chris Hill, here today at the home studio of Tom Gonzalez, illustrator for 14 Cows for America.
Hey Chris, how you doing?
Good, how you doing
Nice
today,
seeing you. How you doing?
Doing all right?
Let's talk about just a little bit about yourself first. Just you can go ahead and tell us a little about your background.
My background is basically based on graphic design and art direction and creating visuals. I've always been a good illustrator, sort of. I mean, I always knew how to draw from the beginning, but it was never really my strong suit. And the more art direction and graphic design, the more I kind of felt that I really want to go back to my roots, meaning the first time I actually started drawing. And really, the only reason I started drawing is because when I was a little boy, my dad used to take me to the zoo in Cuba, and I couldn't. There was so much too much to talk about that it was easier just to draw little sketches of the animals you saw. So you do little sketches and things like that, and it became easier and easier to do. And now I found out that it was a lot easier just to do pictures than to talk about it.
When I talked to the art director, she told me that your color studies just blew everybody in the staff away.
What happened was the last page that had this very powerful message. And I go, this is a really cool book. And I go, oh, I got to do this book. You know, I think this is really the theme and everything I liked about it. But as I got into it, I thought it was very interesting because it was just an interesting story. And you start doing research and you start doing things and you start getting a look. And the whole connection between Kenya and New York, and the whole thing was very fascinating to me. So it's a big contrast. So somehow I got involved and one thing led to the other. And one of those things you just don't drop and you keep working on.
I heard that your goal for this book was to make sure that the authenticity of it was, everything was to the T. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's almost like a documentary, really, what happened, because it was an event that took place and it was a sequence of events. So short of using photographs, we'll just use pretty realistic illustrations and enhance the color and get that whole feel of Africa. But the whole idea was to connect this whole drama that he's thinking about in his head through all the way from New York all the way to his village. And what I did later on, I did a black and white steady, which really gives you the whites and the blacks and so forth. So I wanted to have a lot of drama, and this was going to be in color, but I wanted to do in black and white first because I want to get that strength of the whole day, the whole emotion that he's referring to. So I took this idea, and I kind of took some reference and I kind of illustrated him, and then actually you could use his likeness. So we ended up with this. He's on this side. I still like the whole bridging of this whole, this kind of like this light, this fire that in your mind it could be what he's talking about. We didn't want to show or depict the buildings. It was inappropriate, I felt, and I think this is actually a very nice. Not a compromise, this is a very nice layout in terms of we didn't show the building, we just show this whole fire that he's thinking about. And from a kid's point of view, we had to have children, and later on I found out, and of course as you learn more about the culture, that children are very, very important in that culture. So we decided to put all these children in there, and later on we did some modifications to show more of a diverse group of people, but basically it all started from here to here. So it's a little bit of progression and a little bit of changes that we had to take through, but that's really just a process, if you will. But you always got to start with something.
If you'd like to see more of Tom Gonzalez's artwork from 14 Cows for America, or would like to know more information about the book itself, please visit 14cowsforamerica.com, or just keep an eye out for 14 Cows for America from Peachtree Publishers. I'm Chris Hill.